So we've got this article about a solar storm, and it says it's hitting Earth right now.
Right?
And you want to know what that actually means for us?
Yeah.
Okay, so get this. We could be in for some incredible auroras. Like, seriously amazing, maybe even visible farther south than usual.
Wow.
But there's also a chance this could mess with our power grids and
Yeah.
communications, you know? Like,
Yeah.
it's a pretty wild situation, especially with those areas still recovering from Hurricanes Helene and Milton.
Oh, right. Yeah.
The power grids are probably more vulnerable right now.
Yeah, what's fascinating is that we're not just talking about some,
Right.
abstract event happening millions of miles away.
Mm-hmm.
This storm has the potential to directly impact our daily lives.
Yeah, totally. This isn't a sci-fi movie. This is like
Exactly.
happening right now.
Yeah.
And that article, it uses some pretty technical terms.
Okay.
You know, coronal mass ejection, geomagnetic storm, even X-class solar flares.
Yeah.
Can you break those down for us?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Imagine the sun as like a gigantic pot of boiling plasma.
Yeah.
Sometimes huge bubbles of energy just burst from the surface.
Wow.
And those are essentially solar flares and coronal mass ejections, or CMEs.
CMEs, okay.
Yeah, think of it like all that boiling water being blasted into space.
Oh, okay.
That's a CME, and when it hits Earth, it's like a cosmic tsunami of energy.
A cosmic tsunami, that's a pretty intense image.
Yeah.
So these flares, though, they're not all created equal, right?
Right, you're right about that.
Right.
Not all flares are the same.
Mm-hmm.
We classify them based on their intensity.
Okay.
Because that helps us understand the potential impact, here on Earth.
Right.
X-class flares, those are the heavy hitters.
Okay.
Those are the ones with enough energy to potentially disrupt our technology.
So when we hear about like X-class flares, it's a sign that we need to pay attention because things could get interesting.
Exactly, precisely.
Don't it?
And this current storm, this is linked to a CME that erupted from a pretty significant solar flare.
Okay.
In fact, NOAA, the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration,
Right.
they issued only the second G4 geomagnetic storm watch since 2005 for this event.
Wow. Okay, so a G4 storm watch, that sounds serious.
Yeah.
What does that even mean? Like, what kind of impact are we talking?
Okay, so it's all about the intensity, right?
Okay.
We use the G scale. It ranges from 1 to 5.
Okay.
And it measures how much a geomagnetic storm is shaking up Earth's magnetic field.
Uh-huh.
A G4, that's considered severe,
Okay.
meaning it could cause widespread power grid fluctuations,
Oh, wow.
disrupt radio and GPS signals,
Oh, no.
and, of course, trigger those incredible auroras we talked about.
Right.
Remember those widespread aurora sightings stretching down into Alabama earlier this year in May?
Oh, yeah.
That was caused by a series of powerful solar flares and CMEs,
Wow.
including some that reached G4 levels.
So this G4 storm, this is a big deal. And it's a stark reminder that even though, the sun gives us life,
Right.
it can also be, pretty disruptive.
For sure.
Speaking of powerful solar storms,
Yeah.
you might be wondering what a worst-case scenario looks like.
Yeah.
Well, back in 1989, this article you sent, it mentions a solar storm back in 1989 that
Wow.
caused blackouts in Canada
Yeah.
and the northeastern U.S.
Yeah.
That sounds pretty intense.
It was, the 1989 storm is a real eye-opener,
Okay.
A powerful CME slammed into Earth,
Wow.
overwhelmed power grids,
Oh, wow.
and left millions of people in the dark
Oh, no.
for hours.
And that was back when we, relied way less on technology than we do now.
Right.
So I'm guessing the potential for disruption is even greater today.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, our world runs on electricity
Right.
and interconnected systems.
Right.
Just imagine, the impact on hospitals,
Oh, my God.
transportation,
yeah.
communication, a major disruption. It could have these cascading effects
Yeah.
across, every aspect of our lives.
Okay. So that's a little unsettling. So how worried should we be going forward?
That's the big question, right?
Yeah. The article also mentioned a bunch of X-class flares recently.
It did, yeah.
Is that a normal amount of activity for the sun?
Well, you see, the sun goes through these natural cycles of activity
Okay.
with periods of, higher and lower intensity.
Right.
And these cycles, they're about 11 years long,
Okay.
driven by the sun's magnetic field.
So are we in a period of higher intensity right now?
We are, yeah. We're currently transitioning into what we call solar cycle 25.
Solar cycle 25. Okay.
which is expected to peak in the next couple of years.
So it's like the sun is like waking up from a nap.
Yeah.
And getting a bit more,
A little more energetic.
Energetic, yeah.
And with this increased energy, of course, comes a higher chance of more frequent and intense solar storms.
Right.
Especially those fueled by X-class flares.
Okay, so you've been hearing about these X9 and X1.8 flares, and it's not just like numbers on a page.
Right.
These are a clear sign that the sun is like getting more active.
Yeah, and we need to pay attention.
So knowing that the sun is like entering this like more active phase, like what can we do to prepare?
Okay, so that's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, I hope it's not just like hoarding batteries and canned goods or something.
Yeah.
No, it's definitely more complicated than that.
Okay.
Preparedness, it involves understanding our vulnerabilities and finding ways to make our systems more resilient. Like, think of it this way.
Okay.
One key area is strengthening our power grids.
Okay.
Like, think about it like reinforcing your house before a hurricane.
So making them strong enough to withstand those like bursts of energy from the sun?
Exactly, yeah.
Okay.
We need to upgrade equipment, improve our forecasting and warning systems, and even develop, backup systems.
Okay, so like diversifying our power sources and like
creating redundancies so we're not putting all our eggs in one basket.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
Spread the risk.
That makes sense. What about our communication systems?
Right.
They rely heavily on things like satellites and GPS.
We do.
Which, seem pretty vulnerable to solar storms.
Extremely. And we've become so reliant on these systems
that
a major disruption, I mean, it could throw our daily lives into chaos. Imagine.
Yeah.
The impact on air travel, emergency services,
right.
Financial transactions.
No, it would be bad.
The ripple effects would be enormous.
Okay, I'm getting the picture. So, like, stronger power grids.
Yes.
More resilient communication systems.
Absolutely.
What else can we do to, like, be ready for this, like, potentially bumpy solar ride ahead?
Right.
So it's not just about, like, building tougher infrastructure.
Right.
But also about making sure, like, people know what to do.
Yeah.
If a solar storm hits.
Absolutely.
What should be on that checklist? Yeah, knowledge is power, right?
Right.
And in this case, it can also, like, prevent panic,
Right.
We need clear communication from scientists and government agencies about the potential risks and the steps individuals can take to be prepared.
Right, because it's easy to feel kind of powerless when we're talking about forces as massive as the sun,
Right.
But we're not completely helpless.
No, think about it.
Okay.
We have hurricane preparedness kits.
Right.
We have earthquake drills.
Yeah.
We can apply those same principles to space weather.
I've never thought about it like that, but yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So knowing what we know now about this current solar storm and the potential for like more activity in the coming years.
Yeah.
What's the like key takeaway for our listener? What should they remember from all of this?
I think the biggest takeaway here is that space weather matters. What's happening on the sun, millions of miles away, can directly impact our lives here on Earth.
It's a good reminder that we're part of something much bigger than ourselves.
Right.
And while we can't control the sun's activity, we can learn to live with it.
Yeah.
And prepare for those times when it throws us a cosmic curveball.
Well said. Yeah, it's about understanding those risks.
Yeah.
And taking, simple, practical steps to be prepared.
Okay.
A little awareness and preparation
can
go a long way in minimizing disruptions and keeping ourselves safe.
This has been a fascinating deep dive.
It has.
A bit unsettling at times.
Yeah.
But mostly awe-inspiring.
Yeah, for sure.
It makes you realize how, like, interconnected everything is.
It does. It really does. And it highlights, I think,
the
importance of continued research and understanding.
Right.
So we can better predict and navigate these solar events in the future.
Absolutely. And on that note, we'll leave you with this thought. As we, venture further into the space age, becoming more reliant on technology, and even, like, traveling beyond Earth, how will our understanding of and respect for the sun's power, like, shape our future? Something to ponder as you catch those potentially spectacular auroras in the sky.
Right.
Until next time, keep looking up.